God, I knew better not to. I should have brought some tissue.
I have tissue ready.
That's all right. I'll wait a couple of minutes. You know, you should always listen to your sponsor. Always. Mine told me, buy waterproof mascara. I have it written down.
No, say, who are you?
Where? Well, I actually wrote it. I had to write this down
Elena.
because this is the part that I always forget. My name is Elena, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Elena.
And my day count is 118.
Nice.
This is not my first time trying to get sober, but it is the first time trying this with the help of AA. And I have tried to get sober before. The longest I could do was about 9 months on my own, but I always did it for the wrong reason, because my story was different, of course. I actually didn't have a problem. I didn't need any help. I was doing just fine, right? Very unusual, isn't it? And I would stop it. I would stop drinking for all the wrong reasons. I would do it because I needed a break, or I wanted to take it easy. I wanted to try control drinking because I could do it, right? I wanted to basically prove to myself and everybody else around me who was actually suggesting I might reconsider about that not having a problem thing, that I was normal, that I could drink as a normal person. And if I may give a quote from the Alcoholics Anonymous book, from chapter 3, more about alcoholism. It is not surprising that our drinking careers have been characterized by countless vain attempts to prove we could drink like other people. The idea that somehow, someday, he will control and enjoy his drinking is the great obsession of every abnormal drinker. The persistence of this illusion is astonishing. Many pursue it to the gates of insanity and death. Well, after having started this program, and I went to an outpatient treatment center, and I started going to AA, and there's a lot of educational stuff that comes along with it. So now I understand that I've actually had my problem way longer than I ever thought or was willing to admit, because the early stages are so easy to miss. And even at the late stages, you resist admitting that you have a problem. At least I did. I sure did. But I think I must have had this for, I don't know, maybe 15 years, 20-ish. And I don't have a good excuse for it. I didn't have a bad childhood. I actually had a rather privileged childhood. I didn't have any serious problems that would make me start drinking to forget or get over some pain. I don't know why it started. It just did. I had a good family. I went to good schools, but I had it. I had that in me, and sure thing, I discovered it. And I think the first signs of my alcoholism started showing when I was already kind of graduated from, had a master's degree and already was married. I had my first son. I was working, and I was working in a large company where corporate parties were a common thing, and they always involved a lot of drinking, and sometimes not fully remembering all the events of the previous night. But it was a work thing, and no matter what happened, everybody just kind of laughed at the stories, so it was all okay. And sometime in my late 20s, for me, it became really obvious that I was way better than most people at handling alcohol. I could drink a lot more than anybody else, and I would still be fine long after a lot of other guys were drunk. And that was a cool thing. That was wow, there was something to show off. I would really be proud of that almost. I did take a break to have my second child, but by the mid to late 30s, the drinking became quite a regular thing, including mornings or all day drinking if it was a weekend. And I can't say exactly at what point it went from being cool to becoming a serious problem. I just know that it did. But from there on, I could not stop that progression. It was out of my control. Actually, whether I wanted to stop or not, it was out of my control. I didn't want to stop, but I don't know if I could have, if I did want it. In one of the sessions at the treatment center, one of the counselors, he said, like, if you look at the drinking for us, for people who have this problem, like, there's this line of normal, right? And at first we start drinking to get high. But then as the disease progresses, like, that high it stops being high. You're like below that normal line. And what you're doing is you're trying to survive. You kind of really, really need that drink. Mine was only alcohol, so that's why I'm talking about just drinking. And like, you just need to survive somehow, and you're way below normal. So, yeah, just kind of, I got to that point where I just needed something to get through the day, to get myself going, at least a little bit. And my family told me multiple times that I had a drinking problem, but did I listen? No. Did it ever stop me from getting another drink? No. I would listen. I would kind of get back on track with my own things that I needed to take care of, which was getting another bottle or two, because I was fine. I didn't have a problem and everything that goes along with it. And the truth is, I didn't want, like, I was just talking to my sponsor today. It's like, it's not that I had a problem admitting to myself that I was an alcoholic. It's not a pleasant thing, but at some point you kind of realize that that's fairly obvious. But it's having to admit it was something I wasn't willing to do, because if you admit it, you kind of have to do something about it, right? You can't just say, yeah, I'm an alcoholic, and then off I go to the store. It kind of doesn't work in my mind. And I wasn't ready to do something about it. I was like, I don't know how that makes sense, but I was miserable in the state I was at, and yet I was not willing to do anything about it. So, and for some reason, like, I had to kind of do it the hard way. I hit a few rock bottoms every time, thinking that things couldn't possibly get any worse, and proving myself wrong every time, because it did get worse every time. And until one day things got so bad that even I had to admit that the only way to go through to from there would pretty much be kind of like 6 feet under. So unless I was willing to try something different, to do something different, and that's how I came here. That's how I came to AA. And I know that if it hadn't been for my higher power is God, I would not be alive today. So this for me was truly a case of like divine intervention and blessing in disguise at the same time. And it is a true miracle that I'm here now, both alive and in AA in this fellowship. Just like how they say in the 12 steps and 12 traditions, step 1, we were just going over this today, this morning in our Benson Hill group meeting. You won't listen until you have to do all the things AA tells you to do in order to stay alive. It had to be, it had to get to that point for me to be willing to listen. Only then we become as open-minded to conviction and as willing to listen as the dying can be, because it was really at that kind of level of being desperate, because I would not survive another day in this horror. And I remember how I came to my first AA meeting, not really because I wanted to, but because I had to. We were supposed to attend 2 meetings per week and kind of turn in our sign slips for the treatment center, attendance slips at the outpatient treatment that I'm in. And I was scared to walk into that room, and I still felt that I didn't belong there, not like, not with those people. And but I did go in with an attitude, though. I was going to play along, like, I'll attend the meetings, I'll attend my treatment sessions, but I was not going to share. There. I'll do it my way. That always works out, right?
Yeah.
So, and here I am. I'm 118 days sober, and I have the privilege of sharing my story with you today. There, that's me not sharing. I walked into my first AA meeting expecting to see something or someone terrible. For some reason, goblins comes to mind. I don't know why. But I found myself surrounded by really, really good people who instantly made me feel at home. It was amazing. Just walk into this room. It was an anniversary meeting. A lot of people. Everybody tries to hug you and say welcome, and you're like, yeah. Well, actually, I do feel welcome. Yeah, well, come again. I will, and I did. One of the first meetings that I attended, I started sharing and haven't been able to keep my mouth shut ever since. Kind of. And I really feel proud to be part of this fellowship. I know from personal experience how hard and painful it is to fall down and then make yourself get up again and find the will to keep on trying no matter what. And the people I know in AA not only have the courage to push through and fight this disease every day, but they have enough strength and kindness to always be there for you, others, for me, and to listen and to support. And it's a gift to be part of that. Waterproof mascara. I will listen. And even that word disease, it took me a while to accept this concept of alcoholism being a disease. I really struggled with that because to me it seemed like we were using it as an excuse not to take that responsibility for what we did in the past. So like, oh, it's the disease, so that's okay then. But that has changed for me. I know that this is a disease. It's very real. And it's quite brutal. It's progressive and it's fatal. That's it. That's how it is. And like when you're in that obsession, it feels like, you're possessed. You're not yourself. Alcohol pushes everything and everybody else out of your life. There's no room for anything else. It's just that. The good thing for us is that it's treatable. And admitting that this is a disease does not mean that we're removing the moral responsibility. It just means that we have to, or we can be, or we should be aware of the dangers of the inevitable outcome if you don't stop, but it's also about knowing that there is help. And I'm getting it every time I'm in an AA meeting, and even if I'm not, I'm still getting this because I feel the support, and I feel all these people backing me up. And like knowing that you don't have to go through all this pain. It doesn't have to be miserable. There is a way out. And we were going over, like I said, over step one with the 12 and 12, and like the part when they say that younger people were joining the AA, people who were scarcely more than potential alcoholics, and they were spared that last 10 or 15 years of literal hell the rest of us had gone through. I mean, think about it, 10 or 15 years of hell spared. If only we could just have that. Having a month spared, or even a day, wouldn't that be something? That would be, because like our families and loved ones, they were patient and willing to forgive for a long time. Mine were. But up to a certain point, there came that day when they said, we've had enough. If only we've been kind of spared that one day, that would have made quite a bit of a difference. And just feeling that all the sufferings and the pain and the fears, they can be left in the past now that we're here, now that we're all helping each other on this journey, helping push through. That's a lot. Actually, feeling the pain wasn't a requirement. It was just a choice that we made for a while. I did. And we make jokes in our meetings. We laugh a lot, but not because the things we did in the past are actually funny, but because we know, and it's a firsthand experience, how much it hurts and how much pain lies behind every story. So that makes it kind of okay for us to laugh about it, because we kind of, we get it. Everybody in the room gets it, because everybody has that same story. There might be differences, but we're very much in the same boat. And like they say that this journey, this AA journey, this AA way, it's very simple, but it's not easy, because sometimes that's the simple thing you have to do can be the most difficult thing to do. But no matter how bad I feel, no matter what I'm going through, I always feel better after the meeting. Like I was for some reason super irritated last night, and my family may have noticed it. Just a little bit. And then today, and then I came to the meeting, and it was fine. It was gone. Like, I forgot about it. You listen to other people, you feel that support. There's just some kind of energy in the room when you walk in, and you feel, it's going to be fine. It's really going to be fine. Don't make such a big deal out of it. It's fine. It's manageable. And for somebody who's new, and like, sometimes statistics are just statistics until you start applying them to yourself. And like we read in the big book, like of the people who come to AA, what, 50% make it? Maybe another 25 can, relapse every now and then, and maybe they will be all right. And then I start thinking, well, which one am I? I look around, and am I the one who's going to make it? Am I going to be okay, or am I the one who's going to lose it again? It's scary, especially when you start seeing. I'm really new in AA, but I've already seen people who just stop showing up. And you kind of know what the deal is with some of the people. Some you just kind of stop seeing, but other people and you're already like, oh my God, what can I do? You kind of get a different perspective on the same thing that you were doing. Can I help? What can I do to help? And at some point you have to understand that it's ultimately up to that person to be willing to come back and try again. You can't do it for them, no matter how much you want to. Helps a little bit to see just a little bit what I put my family through, sort of what they had to deal with. And I've been really lucky so far. Like in my 118 days, I haven't had any cravings or any urges. But I know it's all, just a matter of time. I know that, and I had some triggers, but I was able to work through it. And I hope that when the big thing happens, then I'll be able to kind of manage and move on. I am afraid. I am afraid of losing what I have. I'm afraid of looking like what's going to happen in a week, a month, a year. That's scary. Kind of like those never have another drink again, right? Never is a scary word. It is for me. It's a very large concept. I don't even want to go there. And I found this. So I'm reading this daily meditations on spirituality in God's care. And sometimes it's just like really makes my day. And there is a quote which belongs apparently to Sir Winston Churchill. And it is a mistake to look too far ahead. Only one link in the chain of destiny can be handled at a time. And I'm pretty sure when he said it, he was saying it kind of in a different context, in a different setting. It wasn't like me using this quote here now, but it does make sense to me. And like Sir Winston did know a thing or two about drinking and alcohol. So, but that's what I try to focus on, that it's just one step at a time. It's the next 24 hours that I have to worry about, and I have to focus on, not worry about, focus on. I don't have to think about forever. And, I've some of you have already heard me say this. I've developed this new hobby this winter. I'm going skiing. Absolutely love it. But so I want to compare what we do here, especially as a newcomer, with skiing. So so if you're on a slope, regardless of whether you're doing this for like a week or if you've been doing this for 10 years, like first of all, you have to have balance. If you lose balance, you'll fail. You have to stay coordinated because you will fall and you will fail if you don't. And then no matter how good it feels and how good you feel about yourself, how good it feels to go down that slope, there's no way under any circumstances you should get too confident, because as soon as you do that, you'll fall. And I apply that to me in AA because all this applies to me. If I get too cocky, I'll fail. If I'm, unbalanced, if I lose coordination, I'm just going to be out there again. And this is a new one. You haven't heard this one yet. You have. So just yesterday, skiing. So the slope that we were on, like the very first part of it is very, very steep for me. So you come to the beginning of the slope, you look down, and you're like, no way. It's really scary. It's like, I'm not going to make it alive down there. And then you're like, okay, let's refocus. So if I kind of move a little bit over in this direction so I can turn, and then I can move a couple feet forward, and then I make another turn. Before you know it, you're halfway down the slope. You're halfway down. You look up and look, really? And this is how I try to think of it. This too, it doesn't have to be the whole world at the same time. It can be that couple of feet forward before you make the turn, and then you'll worry about something else. You don't have to look down all the way down to see how scary it is. So that's how this feels to me. You know how they say, how do you eat an elephant? Piece by piece, you can't swallow it, the whole elephant at once. And has it been 15 minutes yet?
Yes. 20.
I'm done, almost. And I just wanted to say that 118 days, it's a lot, and it's nothing. It's nothing to make up for years of abuse, of alcohol abuse that I had to put my family through. And one of our fellows in the group said, sometimes you just can't have it all back. You can't have everything back. I was super lucky to get a lot back. My family's here with me. And not everything, but I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful for the support that I'm getting. And thank you for always being there for me, no matter what. And I'm sorry that it took longer than 15 minutes.
All good.
Thank you.